Let's see here. Weirdness is this. There we are. I think that's everything. Yes, no. Yes. Acceptable. Good morning, everyone, by which I mean there's one other person other than us. Turn this down real quick. Will's mom, hello, how are you today? Sporting event? No, we're just teasing. Just getting set up as folks. Oh, thank you. Hello, Naomi. Yeah, it was time to shear the sheep again, as it were. Just it gets so hot on the back of the neck, and you got to keep it short if you want to stay cool. Well, at least ours. Plus, our hair doesn't exactly grow long. It grows out. Okay, let's see here. So, Never Wonder System. Oh, okay, thank you. Hi, Naomi. Well enough. Will's mom, the Mets stink. Not a sports person, so can't talk to that. Pia, hello, good to see you. Sad doggo, cub. Hopefully, animals always hijack since they love your channel too much. That's nice, but do be aware, sad dog. Be aware, sad doggo, and let your littles know that we can end up discussing heavy things here. So it's up to you guys to practice system safety. Okay, just obligatory blurb. We don't mind having them here, but things can get kind of intense, and when they do, we would like folks to put the littles away, as it were, in safe space. Never Wonder System. Heat has been completely unbearable lately. Yes, it has. We were actually, if we look a little fatigued, that's why. That's also why we moved the stream to today. Was because we were out in it yesterday changing the back brake shoes on our wife's car, which will soon rapidly become our daughter's car, because we have been over this past month teaching her to drive. She got her learner's permit, and of course you need to learn, and that has been an adventure in and of itself. Frightening sometimes. No, I'm actually over exaggerating a little. She's catching on quickly and doing well. I think I'm going to move this just a smidge closer. All right. Close enough. Yes. No, is anything ever really perfect? We have this thing with spacing and things, and it's, yeah. We are that person that will go into somebody's house and rearrange their crooked picture on the wall. Anyway. All right, let's see. Here we go. Well, thank you, Naomi. She says, by the way, remember that each and every one of you is valid, strong enough, appreciated, loved, wanted, unique, amazing, and deserve kindness, respect, and compassion. Love you all. Thank you, Naomi. Appreciate that. Pia, I'd like some sun, to be honest. We have cloudbursts and thunder. And now you see, that sounds ideal to me. I would have no problem with that whatsoever. We love rain and stuff. And now it needs to come down, because otherwise... Promise I'll stop futzing with this. Hey, there we go. That's a little better. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Let's see here. Sad Doggo, kind of amazing that you instinctively recognize the animals as children with you on the sleeplessness, but hope you're feeling better, Cup. Uh, the headspace is a creative environment. Never Wonder System. We are just starting to teach our youngest son to drive, which, considering our oldest crashed first try, we were a tad nervous. Well, yeah, our daughter's been pretty good. She picks it up rapidly, but I think it was on the second outing out, she hadn't figured out turn radius quite. Even though I set up, or rather, we have enough land where we were actually able to, on the side portion of it, to set up like a figure eight and, concrete bricks in a, like a four-way stop situation, and had her practice that and reversing and 3-point turn and whatnot. And then we made a figure eight for her to get that. But it was a second or third night out, because she's going to college next month. So she needs to learn this and be freeway ready by then. But she cut the turn wide, and when I say wide, she almost ran into the the utility boxes on the corner there, and it could have been bad. Fortunately, it wasn't. We've been nice and safe so far. I'd say that she's pretty well competent for local traffic, but she hasn't been on the freeway yet. That's for this, next week. But yeah, it's been an interesting experience, putting your life in the hand of an 18-year-old who's just learning to drive, but she has to have somebody, because of the permit, requires a licensed driver, and there's no way in heck that our wife would do this. No, because she's been in several accidents in the past, and is just kind of a nervous Nelly on the road, and even as a passenger. So there's just no way that she would be able to do this. And I have to admit, it's kind of like a little nerve-wracking for us, but hopefully we'll have her on the freeway and ready to go before, I think it's mid-August. Facts and stuff. So yeah, let's see, where were we here? Stephen LaRoche, hello, or Stefan, either way. Let's see, Naomi, we have daily 80 plus degrees with 75% humidity. Never Wonder System says, trade you, P. It's been in the hundreds here in New Mexico with a dry, hot breeze that sucks the life from your soul. Yeah, we feel you, Never Wonder, except with we get the hot that's baking. You step out the door and, oh my God, I left the oven on, But we feel you. Let's see, Pia, yeah, fair enough, Naomi, that's too hot. The worst part is the humidity. Now, you see, I wouldn't mind the humidity. For whatever reason, doesn't bother us. But that's probably because we live in an arid desert down here in the southwest of the United States. All right, let's see here. Yeah, we're familiar with New Mexico weather. Never Wonder, we sure are. Okay, let's see here. Blue Rose, hello. Hi, all. Wanted to say hi and hope you're doing okay. We are visiting our sister-in-law, so we're going to catch up later this week. Love, Blue, no problem. We'll see you then. Or, well, we'll not actually be seeing you since, anyway, have fun. We're a little scattered today. Just yesterday was hard working in the heat, and we got heat exhaustion. So it's no matter what you do or no matter how much you hydrate, and we know all the tricks because we used to hike in this environment. Well, okay, a slightly cooler environment, but not by much. So we know to hydrate and whatnot, but it saps you, it takes you out of you. And particularly doing car work, because there's always something that's going to give you trouble or fight you, or, Most of it yesterday was fairly easy. The first one was difficult, but the second one meant much faster. So, let's see here. Never Wonder, ours panicked at the traffic circle and then decided going straight into the curb, and wall was the better option. Yeah, but I had actually grabbed hold of the steering wheel and helped to crank that, because she still hasn't learned that you gotta, because it's just your basic, 4-cylinder, no frills car, and it's old, so it's kind of a I don't want to say it's not a junk. It's just it's a 20-year-old car. That's seen some life to it, but it's a starter. Yeah. But yeah, I had kind of had the hand on the wheel to crank that over a little bit. It's like it's amazing how quick your reflexes are, isn't it? Let's see here. Do. Pia, yes, suddenly okay with the Scandinavian weather. Yeah, yeah, probably better than there for sure. Their Majesty, hello. Anyone else from the UK? Here it's been non-stop rain, makes our system so sleepy, like we have an instinct to hibernate. That'd be nice. Oh, I'm on top. Messages, settings, and filter, all messages. There we go. Okay, so let's see. Sad doggo, yikes, to someone with heat triggered epilepsy. Be careful. Owie, owie. Yeah, heat can make you convulse, that's for sure. Heat exhaustion, heat exhaustion, which then goes into heat stroke, or can, if you leave it untreated. We used to do a lot of hiking when we lived up in the national park, and never fail. Every summer there was somebody where we would pass them on the trail, and they've only got like one of these little water bottles, and they're 3 or 4 miles into the canyon, and it's like, yeah, this is why you pack extra water if you're experienced. Gallon of water per person per day minimum. And if you want to throw in for saving these idiots, uh, pack a little bit more, and some things to help them out there. Sorry, we're low energy today, but like I said, that it just heat took it out of us. Come on, guys, get chatty, or I'm gonna have to start, droning on about something, or grab a book. And well, Percival's the read out loud guy, but heat triggered epilepsy. I haven't heard of that before. We'll have to look that up, Cub. Okay, either you guys are being really quiet. No, it's picking it up. You're just being really quiet. Okay, so you guys, give us questions for our wives, or Bill's mom message retracted. Okay. Um. Anyway, yeah, Q&A for our wife. We have one question. We need more. I can't make an entire episode out of just one question. So jot down any question that you might have for our wife in, the chat. Okay? Give us something to work with here. It's just, anyway, no. See? No. There's more comments. Okay, let's see here. Low energy, but how are you doing other than that? Naomi wants to know. Ooh, Their Majesty, looks like we're all low on spoons today. Yeah, you're not kidding. Naomi, we are managing. Um, it's ups and downs. Julie is still banging on the gate like anyone who saw our 2 a.m. can't sleep art live stream. That we just when we can always tell when somebody's emerging or we're getting a trauma bubble, because we'll get that. It's like a progressive thing. It's a buildup of God, I don't know how the hell to explain it. It's like a buildup of tension, like a rubber band being wound tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, or a clock being wound tighter and tighter. And we'll begin to get the hallucinations at the corners of our vision, predominantly the right side, for whatever reason. And we'll see whoever it is that's coming in. Sometimes it's indistinct, but generally it's girl wearing white or whatever color, whatever outfit, looking right at us, only the face is indistinct at first, but along with that will then come, not at the same time, well, sometimes at the same time, but most times it's just random. You get the flashbacks, or at least we get the flashbacks, because we'll get an image stuck in our head like the one that we drew, and what it is it's a flashback. She'll want to show us this, and that was the image that she was just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and it's like you can only stick a pin in it for so long before you have to deal with it, because stuffing it down is not the great thing. And we're all supposed to sit with our trauma, right? Sit with it. We have a hard time doing this. I mean, we're not knocking it as a valid technique because we get it, we understand the principle behind it, but it's still tough to do. And if we had a point, we lost it. There it went. Oh yeah, sorry, Julie, and the drawing, and it's not just the image. You have to keep in mind a flashback is your brain is replaying all of that instant. It's all of the associations, the sights, the sound, the smell, the taste, the feeling, the sense of awareness, the sense of time, the sense of presence. For example, in this case, someone behind us. So she pushes the entire experience because she's there experiencing it, and we're also experiencing it, but we're also experiencing this weird split screen thing where we're also there in this perspective, but we're also back here watching it. So it's like watching a movie, but in the movie, you're the character and are able to see this, but you're aware that you're being watched. It's, God, we're explaining this badly, but it's this weird supposition of, or imposition. It's this weird, I can't think of the name, supposition of time and space, or superimposing. That's the word, thank you. It's this bizarre superimposing of your current state versus the state that your brain is replaying. And depending upon how much of it decides to spit out at you, how high the amnesia is, how the barriers are. But yeah, it's she was pushing that one image, so it's been rough, and this is why we need a therapist to help us deal with these times, because we can use our tools to try to lessen the impact. But it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal, and it's tough to get any sleep because you start in with a sleep paralysis and everything, and it's exhausting. It is absolutely grueling, and it's exhausting. I mean, and she's not even speaking to us. She hasn't actually spoken a single word yet. She is aware of us, so at least that's better than John, but she's mute. John at least talks, but Julie thus far has not shown any desire or said anything to the best of our knowledge. So, and then there's the changes integrating this into the system. Where does she fit along the trauma timeline? Where did Susie fit along there? And we've still got a couple more gaps to fill in between, ages 7 to, what we're talking about now, 13, 14, 12, 13 was where, John and Julie and Mimi and Jack, that was all together. Okay, we're just rambling. We're going to go back to the comments. Hopefully we made our point, if we had one to begin with. Show from here. Okay, let's see here. Where were we? So Never Wonder System, been trying to get outside earlier in the day to repair the hot tub, but it's already scorching hot by 9 a.m. This week's been awful as we've been struggling in part with a hardcore denial. Ooh, that can be rough. Lowell's mom, temperature in the ocean in South Florida was 101 degrees. If you smell the soup cooking, it's you. Yeah, no kidding. That's like a, good hot bath. Sad Doggo, well, I did want to share a system accomplishment. Please do. We managed to get through to a very violent persecutor. Excellent. Inter-system communication is a good thing. It can be hard fought for, but congratulations. That is great news. Pia, I saw that. I hope it helped to draw. Yes, no. we don't do a lot of trauma art or therapeutic art because inevitably it turns into a piece of trauma art like that was. Uh, so expressing it does help a little, but it doesn't get rid of it. We're still having to deal with the flashbacks because you'll catch a bit and then you'll catch the whole thing and then you'll re-experience just part of it. That's one of the maddening things about flashbacks is that it could be the whole sequence or it could just be a part of it. Be really nice to know what the regulatory mechanism is, for the biomechanical basis for that, but don't know. At least we've proven that it does happen. So yeah, excellent on that, sad doggo. But yeah, Pia, it helps a little, somewhat. It would just be nice to sleep without having to live it over and over and over again, and then run the risk of it also happening when you're awake, if that makes any sense. Eventually, it ebbs down as it becomes part of the group experience, as it were, or data files it away in, the appropriate place wherever he deems. I guess, God, this is so. This is probably going to sound ridiculously scattered, but trying to explain concepts that just if we were telepathic, we'd just go and you'd understand. Let's see here. So, Sad Doggo is now surgically attached himself to me and practically refuses to let me sleep. But given everything, that's still an improvement. Well, yeah, you have to learn to roll with the punches, that's for sure. And you guys are congratulations. Pia, I would get a violent impulse to hurt those absolute bastards. Yeah, well, in our case, there's not many left to hurt. They're all dead or in prison. Or murdered themselves, who knows? That's one of the maddening things is we'll never be able to get justice. Because we have no, it's just, that's just it, is, how, anyway, yeah, we're not going to get off onto that sidetrack, but yeah, they're all pretty much dead and gone. And those that are left are not worth giving the time of day to, Anyway, let's see here. But thank you, Pia. Appreciate your rage on our behalf and the behalf of all trauma victims. Okay, so let's see. Stefan LaRoche, we are still learning how to process any of that because it always feels so out of nowhere, like everything is fine, then boom. Yeah, exactly. And that's because your amygdala has decided, oh, we're stable. We're kind of feeling good. We can deal with this now. And it's like, no. But yeah, that's exactly it. The minute that we achieve some stability, achieve some, calmness in our inner space, that's when it decides to trigger for us, and it's nasty. And I hate my amygdala, but it has kept us alive, so yay. So let's see. Boy, we are rambling more than normal today. Esme, hello, good to see you. Sad Dog, Their Majesty, thank you. You get a lot of pushback for even continuing to work with him, but it's been worth it. Yeah, just most of the time your persecutors can be reasoned with simply by saying, okay, what do you want? That took ours aback. It's like, okay, what exactly do you want? We're here, we're listening. What's your beef? Not saying that'll work for everybody, but sure as hell took bootstraps by surprise. Let's see here. Also a bit buggy on the phone, wouldn't let us type anything. That's cool. Take your time, man. Let's see. Said glad I could make it in. We'll look forward to listening to this with the rest of the crew later. See you, Chris at Albico. Pia, without a therapist, do you speak to your wife about the flashbacks, or is that too difficult? Hope you find a therapist soon. Finding a therapist soon, we'll see. We're in the process of switching clinics right now. Actually, that's one of the things for Mondays to call to make sure that we haven't been slipped through the cracks again, because it's been about a week, almost two, since we last heard from either side. Without a therapist, do we speak to our wife about the flashbacks? No, not really. She can tell when we're upset, but she rightfully can't deal with the trauma and function, or at least the details. I mean, she sees she's always there with a hug or understanding, but she's told us I can't deal with these details because I teach a classroom with 30 kids who have a lot of these same type of details, and I have to be able to function. And so we have to understand and respect that. Because it would be nice to have someone to share all of the gory little details, and as you guys know, they're pretty gory, but that's not her task. And again, she's absolutely right that it affects her or would affect her mental health as well. And just experience has shown that this is absolutely valid. So that's a quantifiable yes, because sometimes, most of the times, the way it happens is we'll just be in that spiral we were talking about earlier. And it's like standing on the edge of a cliff or something. You feel all of the trauma bubble is coming up, and it's coming up, and it's coming up, and the hallucinations are going on, and that's extremely irritating and scary. And then just everything all together. And it's at that point that we'll be sitting there on the computer, and we will just phased out, and she'll go by and put her arm around us or something like that, or kiss us on the top of the head, and then it's just like floodgates unleashed. Suddenly the EPs rush to the forefront, and we're sobbing for the next 45 minutes or so, and it's just this gut level release in the chest area. That's where we feel it. And so she's always there to comfort, but not for the details of the trauma. It's like she said last time, I can be here for the after effects, but not for the actual stuff itself. And that's fair. That's fair. So it's not as simple as a yes or a no. It's a qualified condition. That's the best way to explain it. Oh, let's see here. And yeah, we hope that we find a therapist soon too. Let's see. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't make it any worse with you. Not at all. Not at all. Naomi, don't worry about it. It's us. We're not that easily triggered most of the time. 99.9% no, or just being silly. Let's see here. But no, Naomi, you ask any question that you damn well please. Anybody ask any question that you want. If we are not okay with it, we'll tell you. Don't think we've actually ran across one yet that we're not comfortable with. Okay, let's see here. Where were we? Okay. There we go. Jocelyn Warnell, welcome. Finally catching an actual live after a couple months of missing. Hope everyone is doing good. Fairly well. Fairly well. Welcome to the stream. You kind of think that you've been here before. Not sure. We can't remember specifically, so welcome. If not, then welcome back if you're returning and we've just simply forgotten, because brain, Swiss cheese, Okay, let's see, but we do try to remember everyone. Okay, let's see here. Thank you for answering. Not ridiculous. Okay, let's see. Pia, yes, I get that about trauma art. I can't write out about my memories. It re-traumatizes. Yeah, it's too easy to slip back into it. Thank you for answering. Not ridiculous at all. Absolutely not. Let's see. Never Wonder System. Does your system allocate times throughout the day for the littles to be out? Or is it more when they do? Nominally, Saturday night is littles night, but it rarely happens. Our littles are not out as much as they should be. Mainly Christopher, and well, I don't know, because Jack plays with stuff as well. So His is more like, building with the Lincoln logs and things like that. And, somebody eventually will take an interest in the ginormous amount of Legos that we have. Um, like I said, there's still some blank spots in our timeline. So who knows who or what who's next? But anyway, yeah, we're dancing around the question. Yes, I know. Thank you, Dana. We do. I don't want to say that we actively suppress our littles coming out, or that I do, because you have to understand it is profoundly uncomfortable for me, Chris, to become a child again. In a way, it's wondrous because as adults, we really truly do forget what it's like to perceive the world as a child. It's a completely different place and a completely different way of thinking. Uh, and I don't know if I am being overprotective or if it's one of these where I don't want to face whatever trauma they might decide is going to come out in the play, because it's early on in our therapy, our therapist asked, gave us homework and would ask Christopher to you know make her a Lego thing or draw her a picture or something like that, and he made some, well, it's like, for example, he made a completely accurate recreation of the apartment that yeah, anyway, that we were in when we were his age. And yeah, that's, we're not going to go there because we've explained it elsewhere, and the stuff that happened there. But anyway, so we need to give them more time. But this is the same problem that I am struggling with, without those who don't co-front. For example, like Mimi or Rosemarie, who is long overdue for, to make an episode for you guys. I know she's finally set her down. It's finding the time for all of us, and I am still uncomfortable hard switching, actually letting go those reins and becoming, or just stepping back into the headspace and somebody else. We do it on a fluid basis. The ANPs that are up front, but unleashing the EPs is still uncomfortable. And just dressing as Percival, which is masculine clothing, when which he's not happy with. He's wanting a change of outfit, to which he's entitled. But anyway, it's still awkward, and there's still a lot of. It's just weird because unfortunately, there was just a lot of. A part of it is upbringing, and that's all we'll go into there. So yeah, hopefully we managed to explain it through all of our hems and haws here. The point is that we should let them out more, but for one reason or another, we don't. And we need to be better about that, and that will go hand in hand with the patterns that we're making now, which is to schedule out the day, who gets what chunk of time and whatnot. So lots of excellent question, though. Excellent question. So just have to think on that one and be honest. So yeah, not as much as they should get. Yeah, good question. Never wonder. Okay, let's see. Naomi saying, I definitely understand the need to find a therapist soon, as I haven't had therapy for a few months, and the one I had never gave me any tools for anything. For what it's worth, my Instagram is always open. We know, Naomi. It's just, we're also under we run the house here. So, we have a lot to do every day, and not every day is going to be productive for us. But we do appreciate, your Instagram and, your offer there. That's thank you. It means a lot. Let's see here. Never Wonder System, spot on there. Brain sees we are functioning and happy in the moment. But wait, there's more. Yeah, exactly. Hope this is okay, but our biggest struggle is navigating intimacy in our marriage. Married 12 years, diagnosed over 2 years ago at 41. And ever since, it's been almost impossible to partake in any. We struggle with that ourselves. We always hate to give pat answers by referring to our other videos, but if you haven't already, we have a video called Learning to Love Again, Sex, Trauma, and DID. and it covers all of that stuff, how and why the trauma affects your sex life, what you can do about it. We give some tips and tricks there at the end. It's a heavy episode. Okay, if you haven't already seen it, and it's the easiest one to find because it has like over 20K views on a video that we can't monetize because it has the word sex in it, but that's okay. Uh, because that's not what it's about, but it's an easy way to look for it. It has over 20K views. Um, Sex sells, there you go. But we hope that the message is getting across in there. But that video, we do go into it because we based it off of a PDF that we do link to in the description of that video. And it's just tells you all about how your trauma and your DID is going to affect your sex life. So go and check that out. Intimacy is hard. As you get older, your body naturally slows down, and I can't speak to it from a female perspective because they undergo their own process with menopause and whatnot, which seems to, be able to strike them at any particular point in time. But for guys, we stop making as much testosterone, we lose some of our sex drive, which in the case of a trauma victim, like in our case, is already dampened down by it because sex is incredibly intense, and it can and will trigger you sometimes. And learning to overcome those triggers can be key to doing it. Now, fortunately, and also being able to match your libido with that of your partners becomes an increasingly challenging thing to do. There are times when you don't feel like it whatsoever. One of the things that we have worked out in our relationship is with that in mind. It is okay for, either we both understand that masturbation is a common part of your sexual life as well, and that there should not be any guilt attached to that, and that both of us are okay with the other person doing it. So that helps to give the freedom to take the edge off as it will without getting caught up in that emotional cauldron. But you still want to be intimate with, we still very much want to be intimate with our life, but with our wife. Yes, and our life. But not being triggered or not having a flashback come out or having, then you run into the whole, well, who is up front exactly and who is doing this? Again, these are all things that we actually do cover in that video, Learning to Love Again, Sex Trauma, and DID. We'll stop there because we could go on forever. So, yeah. You guys are asking great questions to me today, very involved questions, so kudos to you guys. Let's see here. So, let's see. Stephen LaRoche wants to know any tip on letting anger holders vent quietly. Cardboard boxes are great for kicking or smashing with a stick or something, a broom handle. It's going to depend upon your living circumstances. Anger is an action emotion. This is something else that our therapist taught us. And it makes sense because when you're angry, you want to take action. That, you're raw and you're ready to go. We have land in back here. We have in a big enough yard, I suppose, if you want to call it, where we can go out and we've got shipping pallets back there, or just scrap wood or stuff like that, where we can go out with our sledgehammer and just destroy shit as we're screaming obscenities at the top of our lungs. I'm surprised that our neighbors haven't called the cops when we go out to do that. But try to find some action, like, for example, join a gym or something. Working out, I understand, can be very, push through, use the anger to a positive purpose. What you don't want to do is deny it, because you have a right to be angry. So you need to find some kind of a release with a physical component to it, but that's not going to hurt other people in the process. That's where the trick comes in. You're entitled to your anger and you're entitled to express it, but we're not entitled to take that anger out on other people. It's okay to be angry with another person, but that's a whole other ball of wax. So it's going to depend upon your environment, Stephen. It really is, or Stefan, sorry. Let us know which way. I think it's Stefan, maybe. Um, Trying to think of stuff like within a small environment. Cardboard boxes. Just grab some Amazon boxes and just beat the crap out of them. If you got kids, have a pillow fight. Excuse me. Or if you have a spouse, have a pillow fight. Those are actually quite fun, and you can get out some of those aggressive tendencies. Okay, let's see here. I need to catch up because you guys are way ahead of us. Okay, let's see. Taken any? I mean, okay, anger holders vent. Pia saying, I understand, Ray, your wife. I also ask because I can't ask for help, etc. I hide mostly. It's tough. You have to be willing to make that internal effort, and it's hard. We know that spot. But however, communication is key, and just try to communicate with your partner when you're starting on that cycle. But yeah, you get so spun up. Never wonder, is it more due to gatekeeping the littles from the front or their own fear of being out? Gatekeeping. It's gatekeeping, all mea culpa. They're not really afraid to come out. It's just, and this is another part of it, is finding the time when it's empty enough to do so. There's a lot of things. It's complicated in our part, but it's gatekeeping. We have many that will prevent them from fronting due to the embarrassment due to our age and life. Yes, right there, that. But we gatekeep. I gatekeep. It's very difficult for me to let go. It's very difficult for me to step into the background and willingly surrender control to someone else. There's always this fear lurking in the back of my mind, my particular section of mind, whatever, wherever, that I may not come back. Who am I, really? Am I actually an alter? Am I still the core? I mean, our therapist is, convinced, yeah, you're the core, and we have to take her word for it because she was right about everything else. But there's still that fear. So gatekeeping. It's awkward for us to be three. And we did that at Christmas, and our family was kind enough to allow us to do that, to put Christopher in a much better place. So there was that. But I still, when I think about that as me, I wince because I'm projecting myself into their point of view and what they were experiencing. And here's Dad acting like a 3 or 4-year-old on the floor, crawling around on his hands and knees. Well, not crawling, but walking on his knees because the kid thinks that he's that height. It's freaky. It's weird. And it's extraordinarily difficult for us because we are a covert system. Most of the time we are co-blended or co-conscious, whatever you want to call it. And if one of us needs to do something, we just simply kind of slide in, or I come to the side, or I just they shove me to the side. It's really tough to explain what the actual process. So yeah, but yeah, unfortunately, it's embarrassing for us. Wonder system, that's valid. It's a very harsh reality we live in, having to share one body with multiple people who don't always share the same views as you. Yeah. 5 Pieces of 9 has entered the chat. Yo, hello, 5. It's good to see you in the chat. Hopefully things are settling down for you and you're starting to build some stability in your new spot. Moving sucks. Everybody saying hello to 5. Yes. Oxymoron. Hello, Oxy. How are you? Late because I got distracted. How's everyone doing? Fairly well. We're just folks asking some really great questions today. So let's see. Never Wonderland. We will definitely check that out. I think we avoided it initially due to possible triggers, but we're trying to understand more and learn what we can do to navigate the issues with intimacy. Yeah, and we're not going to lie to you. It's a trigger warning. There's a couple parts in there that are really, the whole thing is really intense, but it takes you step by step by step, which is why we turn to the PDF into a video, because it's kind of, the actual PDF is dry. I mean, it's a scientific paper, or study, a scientific paper, but it just spoke so eloquently and filled in so many of the gaps for us, and so many, and backed up a lot of what our therapist was teaching us and telling us that we needed to share it. It was like, diehard necessity, we need to get this information out there. So that's why we made the video, and also because we struggle with those same issues. But yeah, it's you're going to find a lot of answers to your questions in there. Keep in mind, we're not professionals. Okay, professionals may have written our source material, but we ain't professionals. But there's some good info in there. So yeah, take the trigger warning part seriously. Watch responsibly. It's about an hour long, so split it up if you need to. I think we time-stamped it, but we're not sure. Actually, I don't think that we did. Something that we may have to go back and do at some point. But definitely, feel free to walk away from it at any point. But towards the end, we actually give tips on, different things you can do to help, encourage intimacy. Some of the stuff that we found helps us. It's a really, we're pretty frank and open during it. So just keep those things in mind and check it out, because hopefully it'll be of some use to you. Steven alerts. Stefan, honestly scared we're never going to find a healthy relationship. Like we have none of the tools to even find a relationship. Feel you there. That's a hard mood. Fortunately, we were lucky in that we found good women twice in our life. Our first wife passed away due to medical reasons, and our second wife, we were lucky enough to find her. Actually, we had ironically already interacted with her via an online game that we used to play before our first wife died. So weird coincidences that make up your life. But anyway, well, let's see here. Where were we? None of the tools to even find a healthy relationship. Yeah, we've had to relearn our relationships and just how ingrained the abuse patterns that are from the abuse that we were put through as a kid. And it's, some of it was just so subtle. You're looking back now and you're thinking, wow, this is really up. It's peeling that onion back. But yeah, it's scary as fuck. Sorry, excuse us. Tay, hello, Lisa. Never Wonder System rage rooms, 100,000% amazing for persecutors to vent all their rage. Yeah, exactly. Great idea. Everybody saying hello. Oh, Stefan is our little, that's where we're getting it. Stephen is finer lavender. Okay, we'll go with Stephen then, because we don't want to, that's where we're getting it, because we remember you specified for the little. So Stephen is good for us. It'll make it easier. Let's see, Pia, I keep trying. It's partly why I listed. Yeah. Listen to these live streams to know there are others fighting. Sorry, phone weird. No, that's okay. Phones crap out all the time, and I know ours is a pain in the butt. Of course, it's old. We're on a Galaxy S8, I think. Let's see here. Enterprise crew, hello there. It's a constant battle between the relief of being yourself and the fear of looking crazy. Yep, that's a good way to state it. Tay wants to know how we describe core. I've been told off by other systems for saying I'm the core of the system, and I'm a bit confused as to why that's bad. Well, that makes two of us, because we're not sure why that would be bad to begin with. The core is the way our therapist explained it to us, and we're paraphrasing, okay? Don't take this for rote. The core is that part of the personality that is the most congealed, what the original personality would have been, or rather what's left of it after the splitting process. Excuse us. So, and yeah, we're going to have to go into the theory of structural dissociation here real quick to answer this question once we're done coughing up one. Okay. DID 101, and otherwise known as the theory of structural dissociation. When we are born, and as we continue to grow, our awareness forms into what are called ego states, which are things like perceptions, like hot, cold, warm, hungry, thirsty. And then once those basic ones are filled in, we move in, as literally it's building the knowledge, the database of your brain, because you're being exposed to all these new things, and everything that you're exposed to becomes part of the child's personality. The ego states congeal into a larger group. Hungry, thirsty means into, eating, for example. It's the upper concept of eating. And as those parts of the child, as those parts of the child's awareness and the cumulative, personality is exposed to trauma over a prolonged period of time, the brain and the awareness cannot deal with the traumas. So the ego states, instead of congealing together, which ultimately happens around the age of 10, 9 to 10, we tend to go a little bit conservative and say 10. Once they congeal, they form the actual personality. All of your perceptions of hot, cold, eat this, I love mommy, I like, daddy, or I like broccoli, things like that. Or, oh, this is a kitty, kitties are soft. All of those would congeal into the child's and ultimately the adult's one singular personality. The trauma interrupts that process, so that instead of congealing, this bubble's here and this bubble's here and this bubble's here. And when those are coupled with the trauma, when your amygdala recognizing that the abuse that you're experiencing, the experience that you're experiencing is more than your brain can handle, that can process through, it takes and it locks the memories away in the posterior medial cortex for later review. Once your life circumstances stabilize to that point, then the amygdala goes, ha ha, I got this box full of surprises for you. Let's unlock that MRFer. And the next thing you know, your world's shreds. Well, actually, it's been doing that. So at that splitting, there are two different types of, think of each little, or EP, emotional part, as a snapshot, a freeze frame of that particular point in time when the trauma occurred, and it encodes everything: sight, sound, smell, taste, all of them, your perceptual awareness of time, whatnot, what it's like to perceive what you are perceiving at that point in time. And it takes and it locks them away. Those are your littles, which could be just a singular experience or a group of experiences over the long term, which might allow them to slide, within those age ranges. So basically, and then we have the other part, which are the ANPs, or apparently normal parts. Those parts of the psyche who are, their job is to deal with the outside world. Like, for example, my job used to be, or my job is to go to work. Bootstraps is to fix stuff around the house, things like that. They develop to meet the need, as it were. So that's DID as one. So the core is what those ego states would have been had they been offered the chance to congeal and continue growth. And the earlier that the trauma happens and the more intense it is, the more those splits happen. And it can just go on and on and on. And this is without even going into the system, what the hell was it? I can't think of the name of it. It's a system inside of a system. It gets tremendously complex. But there's DID 101, more or less, paraphrased. Okay, here. Let's see here. Enterprise crew will highlight better. Yes, 5 pieces of 9. For those that want to know, a video is in progress and may soon appear. Good. We'll look forward to that. 5. Naomi, sorry, need to go. Doron finds me in front of the screen still late. I'll be punished even if I'm on vacation and don't want to take my Sarah. Bye. Girl, you're breaking our heart. Okay, be safe. Okay, let's see here. Delia Steuven, hi there. We're a system from Spain and we love your videos. Hi, Delia. Good to have you here on the live stream and welcome to the channel. If you have any questions for us, feel free to ask. See, we got about 20 viewers here. We got some new folks. We'll go ahead and go over the rules real quick. For those of you who've been here a long time, say it with us. Rule number 1, you have the right to your opinion. Rule number 2, you have a right to express your opinion. Rule number 3, you do not have a right to inflict or beat up. Rule number 3, you do not have the right to abuse other people with your opinion. Rule number 4, don't post porn links. Just don't do any of that stuff. And rule number 5, don't start crap or troll, because we will ban you instantly and not feel a hint of remorse about it. Okay. So basically, mind your P's and Q's and be polite, and here or in the comments on any of the videos on the channel, and we will leave them up, even if your point of view happens to disagree with ours. So them's the rules. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the stream. Pretty simple. Oxy's saying that they're stressed out, too many triggers in the last 2 weeks, and next week is going to be hard too. And then we are at seminar for 10 days in a small room with too many people. You need to get some serious self-care both before and afterwards. Don't forget to drink water, and make yourself a small grounding box or grounding kit if you haven't already. We've managed to make one that's just basically in, an Altoids tin, something small, some small box like that, where you can have your grounding items with you. That might help you out. Just self-care as much as you can. If you're in a hotel, then take advantage of the hot tub or the spa, that's for sure. Okay, let's see here. But we feel you, Oxy. Be safe. Otherwise, you're okay. That's good to hear. Brandon, hi, Brandon. Pia, virtual hugs if wanted, Oxy. Let's see here. Rainbow Star System, hello, Maldwin. It's good to see you. Never Wonder System, has your system experienced any fusing between parts? No, we have not. If so, how did the overall process affect your system from day-to-day functioning? Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to answer that for you, because we have not experienced fusion, and in our case, we discussed this with our therapist. It's basically because we fragmented so early. Polyfragmented system, that's the word that we were looking for a few minutes ago. Because we fragmented so early, and we are a polyfragmented system, and we did that let's see, from possibly before 5, or I'm sorry, before 6, and definitely between the ages of 7 to 12, we developed a polyfrag system somewhere in there. But no, we have not experienced any fusions in whatsoever. We're all pretty clear-cut and kind of stuck with each other. Functional multiplicity is and has been our goal. It's just that's our system, and it's what the science says, and that's what our therapist said. And she's, like I said, she's been right so far, even though she's not our therapist anymore. It's funny how you actually end up getting more out of the sessions as you review them. If you were smart enough to take notes or do an audio recording or whatnot. Anyway, so no fusion here. Hopefully, Never Wonder, some folks in the comment section, or in the chat here rather, will be able to give you some hints or whatnot. But for that one, no, afraid we're useless. Sorry. We have no direct experience in this. Let's see here. More welcoming. Mark, hey, good to see you. I was thinking about you the other day, as a matter of fact. How are we doing? Off and on. Yeah, watch the replay to find out. Yeah, there's been a lot. You might want to, catch up on the live streams if you haven't. Let's see here. This sounds like way too much people for me. Okay, Tay, apparently it was because I was putting myself as a higher value to the rest of the system, according to, about the core, according to old man Bill, gatekeeper, but we don't really see it that way, as I'm literally the core. Yeah, I mean, if you aren't, at least this is what our therapist was saying, because I'm still not completely convinced, but she's like, yeah, you are. It's like, I've seen it. So you wonder. This is one of the things that hopefully, when we get back into therapy with somebody with half a brain, hopefully, that's familiar with trauma, that we'll be able to sort some of these issues out. But yeah, that does not make sense, Tay, not to us. And hopefully not to Bill. Bill, listen to her. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe that's a no to directly address. No, anyway. Delia, how do you, do you know if I have always been the host? No. that's one of the unsureties that we were just talking about. I have no clue. I'm not sure. Um, I suspect I suspect, as Chris, I suspect that data did a long stretch for us somewhere along the line. It depends. I think basically we chameleoned ourselves, which is what systems do. It's all about invisibility and self-preservation throughout the course of our school, because we were bullied quite extensively. We are still untangling that age range from 7 upwards. That we got a lot of big blank spots in there, so we know that there's stuff. But I know that data has hosted, or now here we get into the host and the core, because the host is the person or alter or the ANP who is in the front most of the time. In that case, it would be me, Chris, and then there's the core, which can actually combine both elements of an ANP and an EP. So that also describes me. Yeah, I'm not sure if we made the point. Hang on here. How do you know if you've always been the host? No. We're trying to think of anybody else who might have hosted for a prolonged period of time, and pretty much I think it's just been me and Data and I at various points. But that may change as we unravel the ball of yarn that is our life and brain. Tay, thank you for explaining, by the way. Sorry if it was a stupid, obvious question. There is no such thing as a stupid question. Knowledge is how we gain, questions are how we gain knowledge and information. So never be afraid to ask questions. Brandon Jen says, hi, hello, Enterprise crew. Think the second live stream has joined. Great to meet you. Never Wonder System. We honestly didn't think we had a core due to the amount of trauma and that we are polyfrag, but recently found out that isn't true. She fronted for 3 days and tried to commit us. Denial 101. Yeah. We get that, not thinking that you have a core, but it looks like you got one there. Give her time, try to communicate, patience. Patience is a virtue, particularly in intersystem communication. That's for sure. Lord, is it for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, way too many people. We have the dogs with us. This is Oxy. On the trip, yeah, way too many people. You have the dogs with us. So that's our best grounding box, and not in a hotel, but nice flat just for us. Very quiet. We'll be okay. Just stressed. That's good, Oxy. Sounds like at least you thought ahead there. To the best of your ability to do so under the circumstances. Stephen saying we'll be right back. Anna T, hi, we're so glad to see you all this month. Thank you. We're here. Oxy saying, I do not know if we have a core. I don't think so. I'm not. Yeah, it's not anything that we really worry about at this point in time, but I guess it could be kind of frightening for other folks. I'm sorry, our attention is slipping here. Now let's see here. Tay, he laughed in surprise being talked to. He agrees with us, so it's all good. We have a hierarchy in our system anyway, so knows I don't put myself at the top of the ladder. Okay, no problem. Yeah, I know that there's protocol for these things sometimes, but we're old and stuff. We do try to keep up though. Let's see here. Oxy saying, but at least you also have, but I also at least partially like the theory of structural dissociation, and as I understand it, it also says there never was a core, but parts did not come together as in normal people. Yeah, this was where with our therapist, because we were asking a lot of the same questions. It kind of got into murky territory, and it was one of these where it's like, we'll revisit this after a while, after we've processed some trauma. And it's like, okay, but that really doesn't answer our question. But yeah, that's a good way of putting it, Oxy. Let's see. Tay's saying, I have no idea if a hierarchy is normal in systems, but it is in ours. Yeah, we have ours. So at least on our part. Let's see, Stephen saying back, funny enough, we're watching and listening via Chromecast on the TV and chatting on the PC, lol, because every time we'd go to chat on the phone, the keyboard would pop up and disappear. Sounds like a good arrangement. Pia must sleep, by all, be safe. Good night, Pia. Get some rest. Saying good night to Pia here, Jocelyn. Good night, good night, good night. Oh, let's see, crew. Good to know. Not sure who I am right now, but crew works. Yep. Oh, Lordy. We are flagging. Sorry if we're a little low energy. Like we were saying earlier, or yesterday, we were out in 100 plus degree weather changing the back brake pads on our wife's car. So the sun got to us, got some heat exhaustion going on because it's just brutal. Takes it out of you. Okay, let's see here. Delia wants to know, how do people in your system deal with body dysmorphia? I don't know how it's written. Sorry, no, it's okay. I'm not sure. Dysphoria. Now we're with you. Body dysphoria. Mimi. Well, actually, I can answer that with this right here. We shave. I'm actually overdue on the beard, but Mimi does not identify with the body whatsoever. Each alter seems to see the body as it was at that particular point in time. When Christopher fronts, he sees the body of a 3 or 4 year old. His hands are that. But if, for example, and this has snapped us out of him with him, if he sees body hair on the arms, that can snap him back to the present, which leads to one of the nasty TITH headaches, because that wasn't there for him. Mimi does not identify with the body whatsoever. She is a 13, 14-year-old girl, and she knows that this is not, she's not happy with with being stuck in the body of an overweight 50-year-old man. Whenever it's like we're in Walmart or something and we'll walk by women's wear, should be all, oh my God, I want to go get that outfit. And we have to continually remind her, Mimi, we don't have the type of body that you think we have. Okay. It's just not going to work that way. And so she has to, reluctantly and grumbling deal with that. Early on, she wanted very much to shave our arms and legs and everything else in between. Glad that she didn't want to do a wax on that one anyway. And she bitched about it and bitched about it and bitched about it and bitched about it. And finally, in order to create peace, I just went ahead and, shaved the legs and everything else. And we found that it helps the littles, and it helps the younger members of the system to feel more at ease in and of themselves. And also, curiously, we've noticed that the longer we go without shaving, bootstrap starts to become more prominent. He's always there, but the younger ones seem to recede a little bit. So as a happy compromise, I have taken to go ahead and I commit to the shaving, get rid of the hair from, almost from neck down. And it has actually led to greater system stability. And plus it's something that I've been able to do, without overtly this being a thing, because the body lives in an area that would be very dangerous for us to, express any feminine aspects outside of the house. And I'm reticent to do it inside of the house just because it's weird. And it's still not comfortable for us. Let's see here. Crew. So basically Mimi, sorry, I had to refresh the train of thought. So basically Mimi is the one that struggles with it the most. Rosemarie is more, well, I really don't care. I'm trying to do, that's not her speaking. She's very matter of fact, and it doesn't matter a whit to her, but she did want to have some, nice clothes, and she has, a very set image of herself. And so we went ahead and we got her the outfit with bra. Curiously, Mimi has evidenced no interest in having a bra at all whatsoever. That could be because what she wants to wear, we couldn't possibly fit at this point. But Actually, I suspect that more has to do with the fact that we don't have breasts and didn't have breasts at the point in time when Mimi came into being. So she may simply not even put that, yeah, I'm not quite sure how to express that thought. It's just kind of not on her horizon. It's not a big part of her self-image, so maybe that's part of it. But she's been the most difficult one to deal with because Rosemary's just so matter-of-fact about it. Excuse me. Oh, goodness. So hopefully that answers your question. Like I said, dealing with it, being willing to shave, that helped a great deal. Yeah, which when you think about it, it's just a little thing. It was just really a little thing. Although I'll tell you what, guys, if there guys out there learning to shave your legs and everything else in between, is a real experience. What do they call it now? Manscaping or something? Anyway, not something that we ever worried about before. Let's see here. Piecing crew works. How do we deal with body dysmorphia? Don't have that. That's okay. So Delia, hopefully that answered your question. 5 saying to Delia that they have one. She's 15. Same with Carrie. Never wonder, our males struggle bad with being in a woman's body. Chest binders and clothing that suits them have been helpful, but it's still quite a struggle for them. Little is also due to our height. Yeah. Christopher is convinced that, we're only, 3.5 feet tall. And it hurts on my knees when I come back to the front. Because he'll shuffle right along the carpet happily, thinking that our knees are her feet. I don't know. He doesn't like to stand up tall. He also won't sit on the furniture unless he's told that he will. So at some point along the while, we were told not to sit on furniture, or that kids couldn't do that. Okay, let's see here. By the way, let's see. 5 is saying, by the way, we're in a male body, over 60, but luckily the body has the abilities of a 24-year-old, which is the age of our host. Well, I wish I still had the ability of my 24-year-old body. It would have been a lot slimmer. Oxy, at least not a big problem for us. Most of us are very out of contact with the body, only almost never look into any kind of mirror at our body. Yeah, we don't like to look in mirrors. And I think that that was actually something that we just naturally have an aversion, and that's because of the trauma, or it's part of the whole "you're not a person, you're a thing" type thing that, yeah, we had to deal with as a kid. Anyway, yeah, okay, yeah, here's everybody else saying that they don't do mirrors much. Yeah, okay, let's see here. Sorry, we lost our track here. Enterprise Crew, Chris, thank you for your middle of the night art live stream. So many sleepless nights recently and ugly memories looping. Seeing that made us feel less alone. You're welcome, Enterprise Crew, no problem. We were awake anyway. Let's see, more people don't do mirrors. Yes, absolutely. It's tough. And boy, I'll tell you, one of the weird ones was we were Rosemary was up front, and we'd just gotten out of the shower, and we're standing there in front of the mirror, and she looks, and all of a sudden we were looking at the body as she visualizes it, and it's like, oh my God, I've got breasts, and then it look back down, and then it's gone. But that was a weird moment. Okay, let's see here. Tay saying a few of their parts see their body as a doll that they can jazz up. Oh Lord, yes. Mimi is forever trying to get us to wear more colorful clothes. Percival too, to a lesser extent. He's very set in what he wants to wear, but yeah, they're always trying to kind of influence us to wear something other than black. But hey, black is slimming and hides the stains. Let's see. I can sometimes, but seldom look at the whole body, only specific parts. Stephen's saying, yeah, the first time Sarah shaved our legs. Afterwards, we were like, why in the world did we do that? It feels weird, honestly. It's like you get used to the air ruffling through your arm or your leg hair, and uh, being without it is a little weird. Actually, we just tried Nair this last go around. Had never tried it before, and our daughter was like, "Oh yeah, it makes it so much easier." And we're like, "Okay." So we go out and buy a bottle of Nair and slap that stuff on, and it's like 3 minutes, not really doing anything. We took it to 5, and then it's like about that 4 minute mark that starts to roll around. You're like, "Okay, I can feel it working now." But it was just not for us. It was not reacting with our skin very well. So we took and gave her the rest of the bottle and just proceeded to shave the rest with, standard triple blade razor. Nair, not for us. But maybe it'll work better for you. And I sure as heck wasn't going to go putting that stuff downstairs, if you catch my drift. Let's see here. Yeah, mirrors can F off and die, absolutely. Let's see. 5 is saying that they think that the body is kept younger feeling or seeming because of all of their littles. That makes sense. That makes sense. Oxy is agreeing. Steven, ouch, YouTube didn't like that for some reason. Yeah, and I showed it. It's part of it's the automatic filter thing. It's don't worry about it. We went and read it for you. Well, let's see. We're at about 2:05. So let's see. Coming up on the channel, I do not know. We have Percival finally picked out the next novel that he wants to read, not the little stories, but like with the Forgotten Door that we did. We've already got the book picked out, and I have actually already got that all scanned. The pages are all scanned in. Just waiting for him to do the vocal recording on that, and we should be starting that up soon. I'll have to see how many chapters that is, whether or not we're going to drop them a chapter at a time, like the way we did with the Forgotten Door. Probably. Maybe we'll do 2 chapters each shot. It depends, because this book is chapters can be kind of long. So we'll have that probably coming up, the first episode of that at least. Maybe a little story and some kind of a factual. Data's got a few ideas that he's kicking around. Rosemary, like we were talking about earlier, she's been making noise about doing a baking episode. I think she wants to do pies this time, or cake, something bakery related. It's just working the time slot for that where she wants to do it and the surroundings are right. But we're gonna try to get that done this month. So basically, that's kind of what we have on our slate. Data hasn't pinned down exactly what he wants to cover or not. We were looking over our list of content that we want to cover, and he had kind of been looking at the pronouns area of it. I, we, us, them. What pronouns do we use, and under what circumstances and whatnot. But he had a couple of items there yet. So once he makes up his mind, we'll see if we start work on that. So that's basically what we've got coming up on the channel. We thank you guys for, we appreciate that you're willing to wait for us, because we have to wait until it's not something that we force. So it happens when it happens. But that's why we do the live stream, so that at least, we can keep up with you guys and keep in contact with you, because we do care about, how you guys are doing. For example, Starry Girl, if you're watching this stream after it's already left, please let us know how it's going for you. We all here care about you and wonder about you when you're not around. So hit us up in the comments section, please, and let us know how it's going, or at least that you're still out there. Okie dokie. How the new job is going, because as I recall, you just got one the last time that you were on the stream. But anyway, reach out. Let's check the chat log here. Let's see here. Justin's saying, as women, I think Nair is the devil. Yeah, just nasty stuff, man. Tay, my rats have come and said hi to all. Hello. Hi, rats. Never Wonder System. We would love to see more videos with Rosemary or Mimi doing their thing, but understand that it's up to them and the system wants to. We wish we allowed our parts to express themselves more. it can be tough juggling the time to do that. But thank you. Yeah. Like I said, probably Rosemary. Mimi seems content after she dropped the trauma tea in that episode there. It's like, well, I want time out to do my video thing. It's like, okay, here you go. Now I'm going to drop shit on you. It's like, yeah, just drop a huge chunk of our trauma history right there. Boom. But that's Mimi, and we had to, our thing is that the alters within certain limits are allowed to present what content that they want to do. And if I did not keep to that rule when she wanted to talk about it, and then I would have been a hypocrite. And at least she kept it fairly mellow, considering. But yeah. Let's see here. 5 pieces of 9. Phoenix wants to know if you have room for her name on a sheep too. Yes, of course. There are always room for another sheep. Okay. Absolutely. Would you also like the other names of your littles on sheeps? If so, let us know what they are. Drop it in the comments section though, rather than the chat log, because scrolling looking for something in the chat log is just a real pain. Okay, let's see here. But yes, absolutely, Phoenix can have a sheep. Don't be silly. Yay for pies or cakes. Yeah, we'll see what she decides to do. And yes, she spells it without the O. It's okay. We got it. Oh, the sheepies, our littles absolutely adored that part. Good. Glad. It's supposed to make them feel part of the safe space. Give them some permanency. Tay has to disappear for the night, but love the stream. Wishing us luck on an upcoming health scare and hope everyone feels better or good in the future. Thank you, Tay. Get some rest, drink some water, and self-care. Looks like that's it. And to be honest, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and sign off as well, because we're just, like I said, low energy. Drop any comments or questions or anything that you have. If you have any questions for our wife, drop them down there in the comment section as well. We are working on producing a video for that, but ask a question for our wives down there so that we can do the Q&A thing. Give her your point of view. I can't do it with only one question, Captain, and that's all we've got so far. So we're going to go and sign off, guys. Thank you very much for coming to the stream. Thank you for supporting, coming to the channel and watching our videos and whatnot, and helping to, form this wonderful community that you guys are forming around all this stuff. All right. So say it with us. We'd like to remind you, as always, that you are loved, that you are strong, and that you are not alone. Chris, thanks for watching, guys. Actually, I'm going to check the chat real quick. Be well, no low energy. Okay, gotcha. All right, guys, have a great night.